Hello, my name is Parish Malfitano. I'm a writer, director and producer of 2 feature films, Bloodshot Heart and my most recent feature, Salt Along the Tongue. And today I am in the Arrow video store, or as I like to call it, heaven. Okay, so I'll get going with the first choice. Has to be Carlito's Way. So this particular film, directed by Brian De Palma, who had been a huge influence on me and still is, came out in 1993, and I first discovered it because my older brother, he has a huge collection of DVDs and VHS, and when I was growing up, it was kind of a monolith of different filmmakers like De Palma and Scorsese and Tarantino and a lot of indie filmmakers, and it was so many different movies that I shouldn't have probably been watching, but I did, and this was one of them. And this film particularly stands out for me because I love Al Pacino's performance as Carlito Brigante, who he's playing a Puerto Rican, which would definitely not fly today, but he's just so sincere and so incredible. And De Palma really kind of makes this tragedy where he puts these themes of redemption and loyalty and love at the forefront. There's certain set pieces that I'll watch over and over and over again when I want to be reinvigorated about cinema or life. Like when Carlito goes to Gail's apartment, who's this former love of his life, played by Penelope Ann Miller, and he wants to get into her apartment, and she very seductively is like, "You're gonna have to kick down the door." And then Joe Crocker's You Are So Beautiful starts playing, and Al Pacino very comically kicks down the door, and they start making out and everything to that song. But how they do that shot had a big influence on my first feature, because they're spinning around with the camera, and Brian De Palma would have had a much bigger budget than what I did with my first one, but we used this circular wooden plank, and then there's a camera on top of that plank, and then the actors stand on that plank, and then we turned that circular plank. So what it meant was it creates this effect of them being still and one with the camera, but then the world around them is moving around. This is the sort of film that if I'm getting serious in a relationship with someone, I'll kind of put this on. It's if you don't like it, I don't know if we should see each other anymore, which maybe that's a good thing I should be doing, but anyone that doesn't love this film, you have a problem. Okay. Next up, we are going to go with 3 Women.
Robert Altman's 3 Women will make you re-examine everyone you've ever wanted to be. Rated PG.
Robert Altman's 3 Women. This film, I first discovered and I was blown away by it. And I was also just more shocked that so many people weren't aware of it or hadn't seen it yet. This film came out, I think, 1977, stars Shelley Duvall and Sissy Spacek. It feels like this feverish sort of dream, and it particularly stuck with me because of its use of symbolism in the way it uses water to explore things like rebirth and this sort of possession, which had a big influence on then my most recent feature, Salt Along the Tongue. The Sissy Spacek character in the film, she essentially possesses the Shelley Duvall character by taking over her personality. But the way Altman does it, it's quite ineffable. He doesn't really do it in a very explicit way. And that's how I then wanted to explore the idea of possession, where you're asking more questions than you're giving answers to. And that's kind of the best sort of film for me, is because it means that film has a longer life. One of the main things that really has stuck out with me is the score by Gerald Busby. He was a traveling salesman, I think, till he was 40 years old. And his partner at the time, who was a publicist, just sent a piece of music from someone that Busby had gotten to do a flute piece. And he sent it to Altman, and Altman liked that piece. He supposedly would get his team together every Friday night or afternoon and get high and drink. And he put on 3 different pieces of music and one of those was Busby's score. And he would actually sit down and like time how long those silences were between when someone would be speaking and just listen to the music. And supposedly the longest silence was when they listened to Busby's music, and that's how he got the gig, because Altman wanted this visceral experience and feeling when listening to the music, which makes sense then when you kind of hear the flute that's used in it, that feels very unsettling and disquieting. The movie moves like water, and Altman is so incredible at creating a sort of spiritual danger in the way he makes his films. Yeah, I just think more people should know about this film, and I adore it. What was I doing next? I'm doing, I'll go to the addiction. Vampires. Here we go. Okay. Abel Ferrara's The Addiction.
The Addiction. Coming this fall.
So this film, The Addiction, came out during this golden era of vampire films. But Abel Ferrara he was a heroin addict, and at one point, and he's exploring this idea of addiction through this character that Lily plays, where she's a philosophy grad student, and she's exploring like past atrocities and genocides of the world and human being violence. And it does this interesting thing to show this like dichotomy between this idea that even like we can be the most knowledgeable people, have an understanding of the past, but we still find justification for violence. And it explores that just in such an interesting way. And there's like a particular scene with Lily Taylor and Eddie Falco where they're eating like lunch together, and Eddie Falco's like eating this burger. And it always stood out for me because she never takes a bite of that burger. When I made Salt on the Tongue, which basically has like food in nearly every scene, I was like, I'm gonna make sure we see people eat in this film. And one of the reasons was because of this movie and that scene. And you quickly find out there's a reason you don't see many people eating in films, because the reset time is just insane, and getting that food, you're presented, and there's a reason for it. So that scene is like stuck out. And the audio commentary in this is hilarious.
What do you think, we're casting these people? This is fucking New York, dog.
But it's just, yeah, such an interesting film about guilt and redemption, and also by the end of the film, without spoiling it, just about that we all kind of need to ask for forgiveness, and using something like a vampire to explore that. I'll go to, That Cold Day in the Park.
This extraordinary motion picture demands your involvement from beginning to end as it peeks without shame into the deepest crevices of human emotion.
So another Robert Altman movie. This came out in 1969, starring Sandy Dennis, which you could probably tell I'm a big fan of. Not many people know about this movie, and it's about like this younger woman who lives in like her parents' apartment that I don't even think they're in the space itself. And she notices this young boy who's like 19 years old out in the rain, and she invites him in. And she becomes quite obsessed by him and wanting to keep him in the apartment. And he doesn't speak for like the majority of the movie. And he then, in a sense, becomes like a mirror to her repression and her loneliness. And I just think like Sandy Dennis is one of the most incredible actors. The way she uses her mouth and her eyes are just on another level. And I kind of put it in the same sort of category of like people like Gina Rollins. They're like these emotional volcanoes that you just don't really know where they're going to go or what they're going to do next. Altman's use of the camera, where he creates this sort of like voyeuristic, zooming in slowly in and out, kind of like a snake moving through the frame. His use of mirrors and reflections, it causes you not to question whether what you're seeing is real, but to question reality in itself, in the sense of reality isn't black and white, it's gray, and it has layers, and what you are seeing, there's something deeper there. I really liked kind of the stylistic but intellectual cinema with this particular film, and Sandy Dennis is just incredible, and I wish she was still around, because she didn't make many films, so she primarily did theater, and she didn't get her break in film until like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, I think, and then she did a bunch of films. I love this film, and I adore it. What was I doing now? I will do, I'll go to Carrie. Where's Carrie? Okay. This is such a nice cover. Okay, we're gonna go to Carrie.
You have a date with Carrie.
So, Brian De Palma again. I first discovered this film because I absolutely adored Stephen King, and this is probably like one of the truest adaptations of one of his books. Sissy Spacek, her performance, she's one of those first actors that I discovered where she wasn't your typical Hollywood actor. There's a beautiful imperfection to her in the best possible way that allows you to connect to her vulnerability and just her humanistic qualities as an individual. And she gets you to go along with this kind of what ends up being a story of like revenge in a way. Again, the set pieces in this, like when it leads to the prom sequence, it's just a masterclass in tension and editing. And Pino Donaggio's score, I'll still put that on strangely when I'm having a shower or something, which is an odd thing to do, but I'm now revealing that I do that sometimes. Such a sincere, beautiful, sweeping score that I love. And one of those first films that had such a big influence on me, just in the genre world and just in filmmaking in general. It's just such a beautiful exploration of someone coming to terms with what it means to become a woman and coming to terms with what it means to have this power and dealing with this oppressive mother figure in her house. And I'm always blown away by how simple it is. It's just such an incredibly simple film, but it stays with you. It stays with you because of how De Palma and obviously Stephen King have such a strong character that you just feel emotionally invested in. To see this film if you can, really try and see it in the cinema as well, because it's a whole nother experience seeing this in a theater. How many? Oh, it's the last one? Okay, cool. So lastly, we're gonna go with The Mask.
The Mask. Ooh, somebody stop me!
So I would regret not talking about this film because I've probably seen it more than most films in my life. Directed by Chuck Russell, came out the year I was born, 1994. And I would watch this on VHS over and over and over again, and that's how I first discovered it. This film is just wild, playful. Jim Carrey's performance is unhinged in the best possible way. And I feel like The Mask just in everyday life, so I feel like that personality is me, which I don't know if that's a good thing, but I kind of feel like a Looney Tune, which is what he essentially is playing in this movie. My first pet was a Jack Russell, it's because of this movie, and that guy was not a good dog, but I blame this movie. And it's like, secretly, I'm actually just here because I want to do a reboot of this movie, because it's based on like a very violent graphic novel that it's a really interesting story about morality and duplicity and this guy going on this kind of revenge killing spree. He's like a villain really in it. But I think that there's potential here to go in a completely another direction, get someone like Alexander Skarsgård in there and do something really incredible. So whoever you are that owns this, call me, because I promise I won't let you down. Thank you for having me at Arrow Video Store today. It's been great. Highly recommend you watch every one of those choices. And if you don't, that's your fault, and I don't wish you well.